Build One South Africa, that's BOSA leaders, are addressing the media today on the latest developments around the government of national unity. Now, this follows the ANC's call for the GNU to be broadened to include more political parties. Let's take you there and listen in.
Hold you accountable so that when you betray that community, the community can exercise its right to remove you. So there's some lessons in that regard. But also, there are many other issues. So when you put them on the table, how do we create coherent, shared objectives so that people are not arbitrarily thumb-sucking what they should vote for, how they should vote? It is about, in essence, saying, here's what we are wanting to advance. If I was to take over Johannesburg tomorrow morning, and that is the objective, we want to govern in places because we are going to be living in coalition. So in a coalition environment, how do you then ensure that at the end of the day, you have a vision that says Johannesburg can have infrastructure that is built? No business is run national. All businesses are run locally. So learn from places like where Clover disinvested, I think it's the Tobot, where you find disinvestment because of the failure of a municipality. Let us build municipalities that can attract investment. Many of the municipalities are heavily indebted, by the way. That's why Johannesburg can't pay for electricity. It's a fact. It has to enter into DAAs or distributor agency agreements with Eskom. So we have to come in here and understand that here are the challenges, we've got the best trained people and we can deliver the change. That has to be the fundamental lessons offering that we put forward. And then lastly, in a world where we are discussing, I don't have a problem with old people. I really don't. I genuinely don't. But I'm very cautious that to say we need a new breed of leadership coming into metros. Abantu abadala must help us unlearn the lessons and the mistakes they've made. But for us to still be voting, let me leave the subtweeting to that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, DP.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for the question, and I think it's an important one. And I've actually gone out to pull some exact criticisms that have come out. The criticisms that we've really gotten, the only criticisms that have been public that we've gotten, have come from the DA. And there have been a few. One of them has been that employers, because the context of the Fair Pay Bill is saying that you, as an employer, should not be able and will not be able to ask an applicant for their previous or their current salary. Because what that does is that people who are applicants then get paid on the basis of what they're being paid now, whether or not that was fair. And often we know that these are issues that have historical discrimination entrenched in them. And so we're saying that you shouldn't have to disclose what you are earning or what you have been earning. You should merely be appointed and remunerated on the basis of your experience, your expertise, and your qualification, and on the basis of the work that you're going to be doing. And that should be within the same bracket, and it should be equitable with what anybody else in that organization, regardless of gender, regardless of age, regardless of anything else which is beyond experience and merit is earning. And that's what it's about. And so the DA says, well, employers via the MP, Michael Bagram, who's been saying this in interviews and has been publicly commenting on it, is that employers will always ask what your pay history is. And now that can't be the basis upon which you fight a bill. It is a historically discriminatory practice, and it is the very reason why we should oppose that harmful norm that exists. So that's the first that they've said. And ultimately what they're doing is they're defending a status quo as business as usual. And it is incorrect to want to protect a status quo just because it's been done. And it doesn't mean that just because it's been done, it has been correct or fair, that it has been a norm. Another has been that this doesn't in any way increase jobs or increase employment in the country. The reality is that when you look at similar bills that have been introduced in other countries, what it has done is that it has introduced an economy or a marketplace or a workforce that is more experienced, a workforce that is more competent, because now you're competing on the basis of merits. And then the last one that they've said is that most companies already disclose pay ranges and adverts, and that's not true. Just now we had Parliament actually advertise a graduate program, literally 2 weeks ago, and they've actually just extended the deadline yesterday, where it did not disclose what the pay bracket is. And so it is not a kept practice, and the lack of transparency actually disproportionately affects young people, it disproportionately affects women and new graduates, and it gets them, it captures them into cycles of underpayment, because if you're basing it on what you were initially paid, you will always then be getting paid less than what you're supposed to do. And so that's what we've had, really. It is, though, a criticism that really is typical of the DA, who wants to entrench inequalities under the guise of protecting business freedom. Nobody's saying that we are dictating to business what it is that they must pay. We're saying it must be fair and you must disclose it. Thanks.
All right, live visuals there at the briefing by BOSA on the GNU, of course, following the ANC's position that the GNU be expanded. Party leader Musi Maimane starting off by sharing his views on the state of governance, urging that government build municipalities that can attract investment, citing numerous cases where businesses left certain municipalities because of the municipalities' inability to adequately invest in infrastructure that will enable business. But our reporter is there and will continue to monitor those proceedings.